Hello everybody, it is the 1st of June and one or two people have asked me to do a plot tour rather than quite a few small little tours on different individual items in the garden. So I shall just walk you around as quickly as I can. This is the rhubarb that I sowed from seed a couple of years ago, and that's doing very well. We did have two on the other side, but to be fair, 4 rhubarb for the wife and I is far too much, so this will be another planting area, and I've got to think what I can put in there to fill up the spaces. Some of these will grow quite big. I'm not very good with flowers, so I shall have to have a look over the summer and autumn as what to put in there. But what I did choose a couple of years ago is all looking quite well. I've even got a comfrey plant there, so just goes to show that a comfrey plant is more than acceptable in the ornamental garden. And you can see I've tried to fill in some of the spaces with bits of bark and ivy, which should creep around and should be great habitat for the wildlife. The fish in the pond have gone. They've moved on to pastures new. They certainly weren't harmed in any way, and as you can see, the water has come lovely and clear now, and very pleased with the pond. I wish I'd done it years ago, and if anybody has got space to put one in, it is without doubt well worth it. The wildlife has improved so much in the garden since putting this in. It has definitely been an asset, and I do find myself gazing into the pond more than I do gardening, but that's what it's there for. And we do get frogs, toads, we've got newts in there, we've seen them laying their eggs, and dragonfly and dragonfly larvae, and yeah, it's been a real asset, the pond. So that's one of my favourite parts of the garden, to be honest. The poppy patch is a trough I just threw some seeds in at the end of last autumn. Didn't expect them to come up, and they've come up as more of a hedge than anything else. And the ones I sowed in the spring, there's not a lot coming up there, but it'll be a show of something. And they are just starting to show themselves. That's a self-sown foxglove, so that should be quite a picture. They're all mixed colours, so it'll be a bonus to see what colour they are when they do come out. And here I've got some dahlias and spring onions and some shallots and spring onions that were sown in the autumn. They're more than ready, and we're taking those as best we can, and some more to follow on here as well, and some more dahlias. And we have lettuce. Now this is called Morton's Mix, and it's from real seeds, and I can highly recommend it. There's only the wife and I, and we can't keep up with them. I have sown some more to take over from when this finishes, but as you can see, they do look lovely, and there's some nice textures and flavours. And when you sow them in a pot, you can see the difference in the colour of the seed leaves when they come up, so you'll be able to choose, so you get a different variety of them. And we've been harvesting these for quite some time now. I think they were sown in February, March, somewhere about there, and I have sown some more as well. Here I have the Greek gigants, butter bean, and they're well away. They're up and running. They're coming on faster than the other beans that I've got. I use these little clips to try and get the stems onto the poles, and once they're on the poles, they will romp away. It makes such a difference. So if you can train them to get onto the poles, they will certainly fly away, and you'll get an earlier crop as well. The field beans for seed, I have had some black fly on these, and I've sprayed them with a mild soap. I think it's Castile soap, and the amount of beans that are on here, the flowers, is unbelievable, and the bees have been all over it. And if I can just show you one stem there, you can see that there's 3, 4, 5 pods at each station, and that goes all the way down. We are going to try eat some of these to see what they're like. They're a short pod with only 3, maybe 4 beans in them, but we will try them and I'll let you know how they come on. But they've been a real picture to see when they were in flower, and you can see what colour the flowers are. They're a pretty flower and the bees have loved them. Self-sown foxglove as well there. And my other beans, aquadolce, they're coming on well. We finished the harvest in the polytunnel now, and these are just coming in now, and you can see that there's some good size pods there, and they're doing really well. I will be saving my own seed off those as well. These are the green Hirsch shaft, direct sown. We've had terrible wind all through the end of the winter and the spring, and it's blown across the garden, and I'm sure everybody else has had it. It's been quite a nuisance. It's blown the peas off course, as you can see. I've been trying to feed them back in, but the next day it's just been blown back out again, so that's been a bit of a nuisance. But these were direct sown, and as you can see they're just into flower now. These are the world famous Pongo beans. Thank you to Bill and Val, and they're coming on well. I had 100% germination on the seeds that I was sent, but one came up blind. There was no growing point in it, so I ended up with 11 out of 12, which is excellent. A lot more than what we've had off the manufacturers this year and the seed companies. This is Champion of England, and it's up to my chest now, and no flowers on that yet. Still got a long way to go to reach its potential all the way up there, and that's looking healthy. I'm trying to train that back in as well, because with the height I don't want that coming out. And then on this side I have the Kent Blue, Mange 2 and Knee Plus Ultra from Bill and Val's allotment, and it was virtually 100% germination on those as well, and as you can see they're looking really well. This is the Knee Plus Ultra, and they're just starting to flower, so I'm really looking forward to those. And this is the Kent Blue, and they're looking very healthy. No flowers on there as yet. Made a bit of a schoolboy error with me Mange 2 here. This is a yellow Mange 2, golden sweet. Obviously didn't read the packet. It's reached the top of its support, and there is no flowers as yet, so that's going to be a tall variety, so I'm going to have to try and extend that somehow. And just to rub salt in the wounds, I have some more further up the garden in that direction, which I was going to keep for seed, so I shall have another extension to do further up as well. This is a dwarf pea, sorry, and that's coming on, that's in flower. That was just a trial. I might grow some of that in the polytunnel for an early crop next season. And then I have climbing French beans, Cobra, good variety that is for climbing French beans. They're doing very well, all look well. And also gifted by Bill and Val is my runner beans, and I'm pretty sure I've got a label somewhere. I haven't wrote it on the label, but they're up the poles now. You can see I've used these clips just to get them going, and once they get going they're away. These two here haven't got going yet, but once they get big enough I will put a clip on them. Keep an eye on your runner beans and your French beans, because the black fly will get in the tips of them, and before you know it the tips will drop off because the black fly have made a mess of them, so do keep an eye on that. Courgettes, you can see how the wind has scorched them. I keep putting these cloches on at night and then putting them either side during the day just to give them a bit of shelter. They look like they'll make it, but they have been through the wars a little bit. And here I have celeriac planted out. They're looking well. Keep them well watered. They do like their water, and they do like to have a good feed as well. And then I've got rhubarb chard. That's coming on nicely. And next to it I've got two varieties of beetroot, which is the one's the fauna beetroot, sowed on the 25th of the 3rd, and the other one I'm pretty sure is Pablo, and they're looking well. I know it might be a bit early, but there's no sign of any leaf miner in the garden as yet, and I know it's been cool, but there's still plenty of time. But last year I religiously took all the leaves off and disposed of them, any that had any on, so I'm hoping that it won't be too bad this year. Carrots, these are a French variety, which are like a stump variety, and it did say they were very fast growing, so I thought I would get them in there and be able to sow another crop after those. But the sweet candle next door, as you can see, they're growing well, so I don't think that these are too fast a growing variety, but there'll still be a crop. Lack of germination there, and it's very possible that I didn't even sow them. Yep, that's more than possible. And down here we have turnips. They're just starting to form. These are in 2s and some are in 1s, and they're called Sweet Bell. And next to them is pak choy, which we just started to use, and they've all gone to seed. I did sow them under the trees up here so as they would have a bit of shelter. Few things like the beet here, leaf beet, that's all gone to seed, and I thought under here, sheltered a bit from the sun, that they would not go to seed quite so fast, but they've just gone straight to seed. But the perpetual spinach sown next door and in between, they're doing fine, and we're not managing to keep up with those. Here I have the parsnips, not grown this variety before, and germination wasn't brilliant, but even 6-7 weeks later they're still trying to germinate, very late, and the others will take over, so they won't do any good, I wouldn't have thought. But I mean, that's 6-7 weeks later, and 6 weeks anyway, and they're still germinating. But it was very patchy to begin with, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they go. And they're in a wick system with a half barrel underneath full of water. And just here I've got my resistor fly carrots. They won't be covered at all, and we'll see whether we get any carrot fly on those. And they're also in a barrel with a wick system. And next to it I have a potato, and we had to buy 1 bag of potatoes because we ran out, and they were Wilger, and they were lovely potatoes, so I kept 2 and planted them, and they're in a 30-litre bucket, and I've put them with 1 little wick in the bottom, and I've not watered them at all, and they were later going in after my main potatoes, a lot later, and as you can see, they've grown well. And I say no water at all, rainwater, but naturally, but they don't get a lot because the foliage tends to shed it off a bit. So that's food for thought for the future, if the wick system works on potato buckets. Personally, I thought it might get a bit too wet and they might rot, but we'll see when we harvest them. Nettle tea in there, and brassica cages. I have just noticed that I've taken these off just to weed them. I have just noticed that I've got a bit of aphid damage just down there, if you can see, and I've sprayed them with a bit of Castile washing liquid soap. It's not too harsh, and I shall go through all the leaves on these now and check these. These are the sprouts, and at the bottom there is purple sprouting, red fire, and they're all looking quite well. I was later putting these in, and I potted them on once more than what I normally do. And if you look at the stems, they haven't gone over on their elbows, as I call it. So I'm very pleased with them. I'd rather they didn't go over on the elbows, although they still come back up, but it's better if they stay on the stem like that. and I've got the canes in ready to tie those in. And on the other cage we have cabbage, cauliflower there. That's SV58, that's only got a name. And then we've got cabbage, which is Dutchman, and Idris cauliflower, and then a purple sprouting Calabrese, which I believe is Iron Man. I'll just take you around this way. Got some weeding to do in there. This is the Jerusalem artichokes that I bought from the supermarket. 2 tubs of them, and all the way through they've had curly leaves. They are British grown, so they should be used to our environment, but they're growing okay. But they do have a curly leaf, and it's a very thick leaf. And just over there you can see that is the one I was gifted, which are bought from one of the seed catalogues, and you can see that the leaves on that are lush and open and soft. So we'll be interested to see how the yields go on these. Here I have some grey shallots, the French shallot, and these are some garlic. Now if you look at the scapes on these, they're just about ready for picking. They've gone round and crossed over. Now, these were gifted from Nigel at Muddy Boots, and they are Marco. So I'm looking forward to harvesting those. And there is one there that's dropped, and I can imagine what's wrong with that underneath. And you've seen my potatoes. Pumpkins, this is Crown Prince. I've kept these cloches around them. They've been planted out a while, and about 4 weeks ago these were still inside a pumpkin. I forgot to buy some new seed, so the wife made some soup with one that we had left over. In fact, we've still got a couple left over, and I took some seeds out and sown them, and I sowed 4 seeds and 3 of them came up. So it'll be interesting to see if they grow true to type. Just in there I've got my leeks, 3 varieties: Musselborough, Stamford and Windermere. I don't know if you can see just inside there. They're the leeks. I did cut the tops and bottoms off them. Some people cut the roots, some people don't. Main reason I cut the roots is just because it goes in the hole a lot easier. Because they are about 6, 7, 8 inches long, the roots, if you sow them in big pots, deep pots. So I cut the roots, trim the roots just so they go in the holes easier. And over here I have some chicory. I've never grown that before. That's for winter cropping. I see a couple of these are going to seed as well. And same again, I sowed them under the trees, hoping that they wouldn't go to seed, but seemingly that's a plan that's not worked. Asparagus, that's coming on quite well. We haven't had a harvest off these yet. This is their 3rd year, and we shall be trying to harvest off them next year. It'll be our 1st year for that. And a bit of garlic that I had spare, I planted either side, and up the middle. Probably a mistake to do this really, but I sowed some shallots. I overordered the shallots, and they're long there, and they're not getting as much light as what they should have perhaps. Sweet corn to go in. I think I had 34 out of 40 sown come through. You can see they're looking well. I think I want 30, so there's a couple of small ones in the middle that won't get used, but the rest are all looking well, and they need to go in. They're desperate. Pumpkin and squashes. That's a giant pumpkin. Goodness knows why I planted it there, but my theory is if I can get one largish pumpkin, the wife can take it to work and they can guess the weight for charity. And here we have one cheeky curry and one harvest moon on the other end. I'm putting the cloches back on at night and just leaving half a cloche on during the day because of the cold winds that we have been having. The sweet corn will go here. Yep, should get 30 in there. 6 rows of 5. I put mine 12 inches apart when I sow them. And here we have celery. that's doing okay. I could have got an extra row in there. I got 4 rows of 4. I could have got 5 rows, I think, just to bunch them up a little bit closer. But I am raising them up with pallet collars as they're growing. Pretty sure that's Victoria. I'll be trying a new variety next year, one recommended by Nigel. And the garlic, elephant garlic nearest me. These have all gone to seed. This bed's never grown onions or garlic before. It's the only bed that hadn't. And I think if you can just see here, you can see what there is there. That one's collapsed. I perhaps should have noticed that earlier and taken that out. A bit sceptical of digging it up really, because it's spreading it over the rest, but there's another one there, looks very much the same. These onions here are from onion sets. They're looking okay. The red onions have got a real good stem on them, and some of the white ones, to be fair. They're all looking okay, but a long way to go for them. I'm not going to give up growing onions in the ground. I shall keep persevering. I'll just bring you back. I got somebody here. My apologies for the break. It was only Penny's frozen dog food. These are the onions that I sowed from seed. There's 3 packets worth of seeds there, and there's 1 row of red Florence and Sabroom shallots, and they're looking okay. And here we have a couple of rows of the grey shallot, French shallot. You can see that some of these are looking a bit, there's one there, and there's a little group there looking very susceptible. And these here are my save seed aristocrat. You can see how the shallots work. 1 bulb splits like that, and I'm beginning to think that these are ready for pulling. Still a bit of greenery on the leaves, but if I can pull these now, they all look healthy, and I want to save the seed for next year, so that might be a job for later on today. I have noticed that the only seed that I've seen is there's one there, you can just see it here, and I did have another one on here which I cut off, and that was all from that same one plant. So if I keep that one separate, and I won't save any of those for seed for the following year. Yeah, I think it's about time I pulled these, and fingers crossed there's no white onion rot. And having seen that garlic up there now, I shall be getting me shaker out again and putting garlic powder over all the beds. I have done it once this year, and now it's June and it's warmed up a bit more. I shall do it again, and then I shall probably do it again in August. The only other thing that I have to show you is these are my Sabroom shallots that I planted from last year. I planted 3 shallots, my own stock, and these are the seed heads off them, and they're just almost starting to split, and hopefully I shall get some of my own seed off these, and they'll be a better germination. I think there's about 14 or 15 heads on there, so yeah, fingers crossed for those. And I've also got a couple of buckets of garlic which I had spare, so I put them in these recycling bins. So I think I'm going to, and it looks like there's one susceptible there to the white rot. So many thanks for watching, everybody. My apologies for it being so long. These plot tours, you can't do them too quick, or can't do them quick enough, I'm not sure which. Just there you can see my peas and mange too that I planted for seed. They're coming on well, and I will just show you. These peas here are green shaft, first green shaft, and these were sown in the gutters, and they were sown 10 days after the ones which were direct sown. And you can see that these have got good long pods on them already. So the ones that were sown in the polytunnel in gutters 10 days later are a lot further ahead, probably 2 weeks or a week probably 10 days ahead of the ones which will be direct sown. Take good care everybody, many thanks for watching, bye.